Legacy Productions and DSID presents Race, a conversation about restructuring Albemarle and Charlottesville's equity.
Hello, and thank you all for tuning in. I want to welcome you to Race, a visual podcast. Today, August 12th, 2020, is a bittersweet day. This is the 3 years from August 12th, 2017, the Summer of Hate. It's not the greatest thing to remember about Charlottesville. And it brings back some memories that some of us really don't want to have to relive again, but we have to live it every single day. And so today, I just wanted to open up the podcast for everyone to understand that we're sorry for the lives that were lost that day, and we want to take a moment of silence. But we also want to give a platform to those who survived something so horrific, something that turned into being a complete nightmare for them. It's something that they're going to wear for the rest of their life. They're completely traumatized. They don't feel that they received any type of justice from what happened to them. And those are those people who were injured. So I want to take a moment to introduce one of the victims who was hit by the vehicle that day, Mrs. Tay Washington, and she is here to share her story. And for any other victims out there, I just want to lend you my love and support and let you know that you are not alone. I myself was out there all day on August the 12th. I know what you guys experienced. I was right there. I saw it for myself. And I just want you to know that despite what you've been through, it doesn't have to define you, and that you should just continue to keep pushing and try to tell your story on any platform that you can tell your story on. So I want to introduce Tay Washington.
Hello.
So, Miss Tay, August the 12th. Mm-hmm. Now, I know that it is not a soft conversation, right? This is something that you got to live every day. I know it's not a comfortable conversation. But I do want to, first let me just ask you, how are you? How you been? How's life? Let's start kind of mellow.
Well, honestly, I've been struggling, trying to proceed with life from that day. I've been doing the best I can. You know, you got to take what life throws at you, and you got to keep going. So that's exactly what I've been trying to do, despite of my injuries, despite of the injuries, including I have complex regional pain syndrome. Basically, it's a rare chronic illness. It affects my whole body. The site where it affects most is my right side, and I also have TBI, which is traumatic brain injury. So a little bit about these things. August 12th for me is something that I try not to look all the way back. It's like I tried to put a door there, because I put a door there because it's hard for me to think that what is going on with me is because of race.
Talk about where you were. I know where you were. You were one of the vehicles.
Okay.
On 4th Street. Right. So just for people that don't know, that may listen to the podcast, explain where you were.
So I definitely want to get that. I wanted to get this clear. I was not at the rally, and I praise those who were. You know, I'm not saying it was a bad thing. I'm saying that I see a rally on TV, and that's the first I ever seen. You know, that's where I see a rally. this time I was literally stuck inside a rally in real life. I was coming from a friend house, and I just seen a whole bunch of people basically looking over a fence, and I was being nosy. And I went over and I'm like, wow, you know, they really out here, you know, and they had a bunch of signs, and this was right by Friendship Court, like the street right next to Friendship Court, going towards the downtown mall. So I left that scene and I'm going home. And I basically turned by the store Lucky 7, and it was detours everywhere. So I'm just going where the detours allowed me to go, which put me, I want to say I ended up on 4th Street. The guy James Field was behind me the whole time. I'm just thinking, hey, we both lost. We trying to find a way to get out of all of these detours, you know, signs, because they were everywhere. So basically I ended up on 4th Street. I'm proceeding to go down 4th Street. I see the crowd had basically turned around and start to come back up, walk up under the bridge, which is leading back up to 4th Street. But 4th Street is a one-way. So once I'm going down 4th Street, I'm halfway down, I'm seeing what's going on. It's nothing I can't do. It's a one-way, so I couldn't do anything but go, you know, basically get behind the van that was at the stop sign. That's what I did. The car that was behind me, that was James Field, come to find out. He backed all the way out, and I was like, okay, you know, just peeked at it, but basically kept minding my business, looking at all these people, because like I said, I never seen a real rally. I never seen a rally full of white people cheering for black people. Let's make that clear. You know, our black people was out there, but it was good white people out there cheering for black people. So that was very interesting to see.
And for those that don't know, just say like where you're from, because you're not from Charlottesville.
No, I'm not from Charlottesville. I'm originally from Gadsden, Mississippi. I've been in Charlottesville. I've been in Virginia since 2008. So it's I'm half and half, but Mississippi is my life, and I you know that all this stuff was new to me.
Yeah, so I just wanted to clear that up,
right.
Because you seeing white people, they needed to know why you
right.
felt that way. She's from Mississippi, so that's a different.
And just in general, like I not only just from being Mississippi, like period, I never seen so many white people stand for black people. It was like, wow, y'all care about us, you know. So I was staring off in space, and actually before anything happened, a guy, white guy, stopped by my window and told me and my sister, Micah Washington, thank y'all for being patient. It was like, fine, you're fine, you know. Next thing I know, all I hear is screaming. Okay, I'm taking you through the scene. All I hear is screaming, like 2 minutes later. I'm trying to open up my eyes. I can't even see. I'm really freaking out. Like, why am I? And then, you know. So by the time I got my eyes open, it's chaotic. It's people running, screaming. Somebody's tumbling over my window. It's something like you're bracing yourself to see what you're seeing, but you're actually going through it while you're trying to brace yourself. It's kind of, you know, like a shock. And I just started feeling all over me. Because I remember my legs were stinging and it was burning like something, like I did something to it. I couldn't see it because it's under the dashboard, you know. At this point, I checking myself to make sure I'm okay. I'm okay, you know. I'm checking, you know, I know I'm not no major bleeding. I know to cover myself up because I am an EMT. So I have no major bleeding, and I'm like, hey, I'm fine. You know, that everybody was trying to help me. I'm like, I'm fine. Go help someone else. At this point, I noticed it wasn't no security, no police, no EMTs, no anything. We're just civilian people trying to help one another. And to be honest with you, my car was my safe net. I did not want to leave my car because, number one, I did not know what had happened to us. I thought a bomb went off, okay? because that's how my ears was.
That's how loud it was.
My ears was like, my eyes was. I thought a bomb went off. I'm screaming, "What happened? What happened?" My sister then say, "I think somebody hit us," but we don't know at this moment. Nobody, me and her don't know what's going on, how serious nothing is, because we're inside the car. We don't know. Actually, it wasn't until I got home till I seen the guy driving to my car, I realized he tried to kill me. So I guess that's when it got a little real for me and scary for me, and realized like, wow, I was inside of a crime scene with somebody trying to kill us, and that was scary. So at this point, I'm just happy to be alive. And I'm thinking in my head, hey, you made it. Your sister made it. We can go on living our life, because I guess I have been in a few car accidents. I never seen them like that, but something like that happened with me. How I get through it, I'm trying to push it all the way to the back. That's how I get through things.
So at this point, you've been hit by the car. You didn't want to get out the car. I can tell you because I was there. The first people that showed up on the scene was the university police. I was there when they showed up on the scene. It was kind of weird how the setup was. There were no state cops. There was no city cops. UVA cops were the first to respond because the state and the city. I remember recording them.
Gotcha.
So my Snapchat, I had to literally back my Snapchat up. And my Instagram story, I backed it up on like 3 different hard drives just to save my footage from that day. So at about 9:26 that day, I had reached out to the police because we were standing with our toes at the edge of Market Street. So I was with the Clergy Collective. So we were the first group to get downtown that day. We got down there about 7 something. And we were the first group to get there. They did a 6 a.m. service up at First Baptist Church. And when they did the 6 a.m. service at First Baptist Church, they walked from First Baptist Church down to Market Street. So we were there before any of the alt-right had showed up. So it was a clergy group. It was a bunch of different reverends from different congregations, of course, Baptist, Christian, the synagogue. It was just different reverends from all over. It didn't matter which denomination was. Didn't matter. We were all together. Mm-hmm. So we were singing, hymns and different church songs all throughout the morning. So when they started to show up at about 8:45, I would say about 8:45 they started to show up. Mind you, they weren't supposed to start showing up until later on that day. The alt-right.
Okay.
So when the alt-right showed up about 8:45, they started marching into the park. It might have been 8:30. I can't remember the exact time. When they started marching into the park, they would walk by us and take the flagpoles and tilt the flagpoles and basically hit us in the head. I still got a cut right here from one of them doing it to me that day. So about 9:20, I go to the officer and tell the officer, look, they down here assaulting us with these flagpoles. Y'all need to do something. So they okay, Tanesha, we'll react if we need to. So at this point, it's Officer Stamens, Ronnie Stamens, and Officer Gibson. B. Gibson is his name. Those are 2 police. So I'm like, what y'all mean? Y'all gonna react when y'all react if y'all need to? Mm-hmm. I said, go get Mooney. So then Mooney come over there, and then Mooney come and tell me, Tanesha, we'll respond if we need to. We got to stay up here for right now. So that was my first complaint to the police. Mm-hmm. Then again at about 10:26, this was before they called the unlawful assembly. So this is before you get caught up in the traffic pyramid, right? About 10:26, I go to the cops again for the same thing. By this time, they fighting everywhere downtown. Mm-hmm. So it's fights in every corner. They throwing bottles they got bottles full of urine. They just tossing them over the fence, and they got other stuff that they launching all types of stuff. People had rocks covered up and cloth and things.
See, this is the part you talking about. It's the part I seen on news
TV.
articles. Someone asked me, did you know it would be a rally that day? And I wanted to bring that up. I had no idea it was going. I knew I live in Charlottesville.
You don't got to explain yourself with that though.
But I felt like I need to, because somebody was like, you didn't know not to go downtown.
A lot of people didn't know.
And no, I didn't know. I had no idea anything was going on, but what happened at UVA with the
night before,
the tiki, that's the thing that I paid attention to, because it was, I guess you could not pay attention to it, Well,
and you didn't have, my purpose for even telling you the background, I just wanted you to know, like, things that I witnessed that day.
Right, like you're telling me
what you
whole,
witnessed.
right.
Like, yeah, your trauma is your trauma, my trauma is my trauma.
You're telling me.
But you didn't have to be directly involved, or you didn't have to know that it was a rally that day. I think a lot of people felt like more black people should have showed up. And yes, I agree, more black people should have showed up. However, I'm glad we didn't. And that's where I was getting to with that.
Got you. Okay.
That's where I'm getting to with my side of the story is I know how we are in our own neighborhoods.
Right. Got you.
So my purpose for even going to the police was I'm going to cover my tracks before I go here and foul off on one of these white boys out here. Because, that's really what it was leading to. Mm-hmm. And at that 10:26 mark, once they started to continue to lure them flagpoles, it's like, oh, it's fair game. I'm grabbing flagpoles. I'm making them trip off the sidewalk and everything. Right. Didn't matter. Because at this point, if the police wasn't going to do anything at 9:20, and then you weren't going to do anything at 10:26, but then you called an unlawful assembly at 11:28, and then you called it again for the third time at almost 12 o'clock, then to me, you had no intentions on checking these white boys for what they were doing.
I don't think they had no intentions coming down there, period. And the only reason I say that is because I went to the magistrate office right after this was freshly over for something else. And I personally talked to an officer. And her exact words were, they told us to stand down. I went home and I stayed home to be safe. So I feel like they knew something was coming. Okay, y'all knew have a rally, but did y'all know something more than we was having a rally?
I think because I was deeply involved from way before the rally even started, I will say that they had all types of intel to know that a car was going to be used for a weapon.
And I can truly believe that, but it felt like it was like a trap almost. If you go back and look at it.
So, everybody had to go down that street. I just feel like the street is typically blocked off better for Friday after 5s than it was that day. I think when you look at the review, I don't know if you read the review. I have, because I was directly in it. But when you look at the review, the officer who was put in charge to monitor that section, she got scared and she left the scene. So it was just way more involved that day if you read the review.
I to be honest with you, I haven't. I guess that's why you're catching me up. It's traumatizing when I'm still in it. You know, I feel like I'm still in it because they haven't helped me.
The review basically put out a lot of blame and fault on the city, and that's where I want to get to with this, because you need to, if you don't know, this is what you need to know. Is that the review put out a lot of fault on the city of Charlottesville. But I was one of those people directly involved that did a lot of interviews that made it clear how I held the city accountable, because I felt like the city was more responsible than what they were willing to admit. I am also one of those people who put out there the basically broke it down in a race perspective. And 3 years later, here we are today, seeing the same type of protests happening in America, right? Except these protests are more geared towards black people of color. And we see that we have the same president that we had then in 2017 issuing, demands and putting out orders to arrest people.
Right. For protest.
And so you brought up the stand down, right? And I want to touch on the stand down just a little bit. The only reason why there was a stand down put in place is because these were white boys coming to an all-white town, representing that good old white boys club, representing that white male Anglo-Saxon, white people can do whatever they want to do, get away with it, get a little slap on the wrist. I feel like that was the message that America put out in 2017. But 3 years later, we climb up to 2020 and we see the same type of protests happening for Black Lives Matter. And the message put out today is Black people don't have a right to be upset. Black people shouldn't be breaking windows in stores because George Floyd died on the street and yelled out for his mama before he took his last breath. And so you brought up that stand down. I just want people to know watching this podcast that the stand down had to be ordered from Donald Trump. It's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. When you read the review, the city didn't know who called it. The state didn't know who called it. UVA didn't know who called it. Albemarle County said, we don't want to have nothing to do with it. You look at the review that the city paid for. You look at the review that the state did. And nobody mysteriously knows about this stand-in. But we see the difference in how the government is operating now that the protests are geared towards people of color.
Oh, yeah. It's hard for me to talk because I also lost my brother last year by a gun. And you're talking about President Trump shutting our protests down compared to August 12th. And the reason I say that because I remember his words were, it's good people on both sides. And they're not holding nobody is being held responsible for the aftermath of what August 12th have done.
Agreed.
And I didn't know how much I have covered and protected myself, I guess, until I have to get into these things. I put up a wall. But then when you start living in it and it touches you on a personal level, it's like you against the world, even though it's a lot of us. Because no one is supporting or hearing us. And I guess me living after August 12th, I am experiencing that more than ever. And to experience it and to still be in it and try to fight for it is very tough.
Oh, and I get it. Listen, I'm one that I often critique the world saying Heather Howard was a martyr. I don't feel that. I think that's a strong title. I think that movie, Charlottesville show, and I respect you for saying, look, I wasn't at the protest. She decided to come to the protest that day because her friends all made a phone call and they all got together and they showed up at the protest. That came out in the movie. I am one to challenge her mother every time because people who were directly involved in that fight, me being one, Ziona Bryant, Dawn Gathers, Nakia Walker, Mary Carey. It's so many people that I can name. Charge my mind, don't charge my heart, because I'm not going to go down the list of everybody. I'm just naming some people who were there in the beginning before this became a date for a rally, right? Here recently, we just had a listening session on policing in Charlottesville. And one of the members of the Jewish community, I believe it was one of the rabbis, and it might have just been a director of security there at the church, just stated on that community conversation that the alt-right did not come here for black people. Now, we just seen Nick Cannon got dragged by America for disrespecting the Jewish community. Mm-hmm. But we had a member of the Jewish community disrespect the black community and said that they didn't come here for black people. They dragged West Bellamy neck and foot through this town, threatened him, his wife, his children, his family, said all types of stuff about him. I've gotten hate mail to my address, in my inbox, in my email. Listen, my car just got shot up a couple weeks ago. Mm. So nobody knows what people who have been fighting this fight are going through, right? And so it's unfair to completely turn one day into a day that we're just going to give this day to the people that died. No. Because you and everybody else that was injured still have to live with that pain.
Right. And it's people like you who help people like me, because I'm in a predicament where I haven't reached where you at yet, meaning I am not strong enough to vocally express everything I'm feeling because I'm still fighting a fight. So I need people like you to help me get me on this platform, because, sorry y'all,
You're fine.
Trying to fight a fight with little to no support and trying to be strong and stand up for yourself is kind of almost impossible.
So let's talk about that a little bit. So I was in court. I heard y'all testimonies. I know that the insurance claim they dropped Chris Field. So basically there's nobody being held responsible for any of the injuries that day. I know they had like a heal fund that gave a little bit of money. But like let's in a perfect world, we just gonna pretend in a perfect world, because I also feel like they did not do enough for you. And many others that were injured that day. I feel like they didn't do enough for you guys. In a perfect world, what would you want? My show is about getting equity for Black people. What do you feel in your position? What do you feel like you would want? Right now, if somebody was like, how can I help you? What do you want?
I want to be able to, since I can't work and take care of myself, and since I don't have this medical thing figured out, I need somebody on all aspects to take me serious and step up and be like, this girl needs help medically, because I have a rare disease I never heard of until I got it. I had to learn how to walk with this pain I'm feeling every day. I had to learn what not to do. I can't climb the stairs. You basically learn to live a whole new lifestyle and help my peers around me figure out how to help me too, because when you're disabled, it messes with everybody around you that care about you, especially if it's long term. I have an 11-year-old daughter, and Mom, all I know to do is work, and when something don't go right, all I know to do is keep working or keep trying to find another way by self. I never been in a predicament where I couldn't able to take care of Tay. And if someone's asked me right now, you took that from me, Charlottesville. You took that from me, and now you're making me fight for help for it. So help me get the help I need medically, and help me get the help I need to have a roof over my head, so I won't be worried about where I'm gonna sleep at the next day or a couple months from now, because I don't have no income and I can't make my own income, and you're making me fight for it to even get a little income for something that should cost. I feel like Heather, I could not never feel her mom's pain, but my mom has lost a child, so I know it takes everything. And I know money do not replace your kid. But I can say this. I don't think her mom is worried about where she's going to lay her head at Is her lights gonna get cut off? Can she go to the doctor because if she have enough money to? So I feel like, give me that. Don't leave me in the dark, and don't give me a little something to shut me up for a while.
So basically, you saying the Heather Hire Foundation should do more for the injured parties involved.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was more victims than Heather. Heather died, and I am so sorry for that. And I could never touch on that. But it was more than Heather out there. And if Heather didn't die, would y'all have done anything at all for us, the people who has permanent issues? Not only the people who has permanent issues, but let's take this thing from injury. Let's go to trauma, because everybody's,
We all got it.
Okay, so if I am traumatized by this rally, and I'm going to a doctor because I got hit for a rally for an incident, and if the doctor is treating me like I am better, like I am not as worse as I am saying I am, and that I have never been before, because before the accident I was this. I have history of this. But after the accident I am this. I'm going off a doctor saying, this is wrong with you, and just push me to the side.
Well, and I think that's a longer conversation, because there's healthcare disparities, right? I mean, we would be here for hours talking about the issues of race in the medical field.
But basically what I'm getting at is, it should have been somebody for us victims, to make sure not only, to make sure after the fact what happened to us. Most of them don't even know anything about me. Mm-hmm. They don't even know anything about my struggles. They don't even know anything what I'm facing, what I'm dealing with. They have no idea, because they haven't came to check on me. But we have these big organizations coming together, and we have this community of Charlottesville get together this money to help victims of Charlottesville. But then, is it really helping us victims, or is it helping all of Charlottesville? You see what I'm saying? It's like mix and match. What about the victims or the people who was at that rally who got hurt on your behalf?
So I'm big on making sure that I always bring up people like yourself that was hurt that day, because I feel like you guys are often left kind of behind. And there was some massive injuries.
Yes, and that's another. And I was in the ambulance with 3 other people who was hurt. You can see, you know what I'm saying? I have something you can't see, and it's permanent. My bone's not going to heal back up. I don't have something you can break and it heal back up. I don't have something, to be honest with you, all I know is how it affects me. All I know, if I do too much of something, it shuts me down like an old person. All I know, if I have unpredictable flares, that I can't do nothing but sit still and take all my clothes off because the clothes hurt on my body. Me, I'm the type of person, I don't depend on nobody. You know what I'm saying? I said from the get-go, I understand y'all here to help now. This is what I've been saying. If you look at any interviews I've been saying. But what I'm worried about the later. Long term. And you have every right. Because I guess you don't get into something until something happened to you. Well, that took me. So we've been having this problem where I feel like that if I was white, I would get treated better, because somebody that was white made a call on my behalf, and I got help swiftly on something, compared to me screaming for it for months. And it's opened up my eyes, the black and white. Like, this is something really deep and serious. And like you said, we can't cover it all in one day because it's too much. But it took August 12th for me to go through all these things, and I don't know what God is doing, but I do know that I see better and I see clear, and not only for me, but for all of our black young people, and especially black people that was at that rally that day. I feel like, I don't know nobody else's story but me personally, and I know somebody in my same shoes, we are not getting the support and help we need. I know that we can't go back to our regular lives before the accident. And I know it's no one coming to my door asking me what you're asking me, what I need. So I know it's a fight. And I know I have to make a stand, and I know I have to speak up as hard as it is, because I don't like to put my business out there. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a more this person because at the beginning I put my business out there and the doors got slammed in my face, or I got told that I can't help you with this, or I got told that, trying to make me snake around whatever it is, and still I get nowhere. It's like a lose-lose fight.
No, it's a fight. We're not going to say it's a lose-lose fight. It's a fight.
It's a fight.
So I want to introduce Miss Emma Washington. This is Miss Tay Washington's mom. We just want to ask Mom if she wanted to follow up. It was important to do this podcast because I feel like Black women are often not heard. Movements like the Me Too movement often gets taken away from Black women. People don't understand the trauma and the pain that Black women go through. And it was important for me, being that I started this Restructuring, Albemarle, Charlottesville Equity, this race podcast, with pointing out that, you guys need to really start listening to Black women. There's pain sometimes that we don't always show on the outside. We pain internally. And the fact that we pain internally, it wears on us internally. And we're about to sit with a mom who's not only dealing with a child that's dealing with trauma from August the 12th, but she's also lost a child to gun violence as well. And so I just want to allow her a space to say a few words.
Well, first of all, thanks for even doing this, and I really appreciate you seeing us and showing interest. I'm very proud of my daughter today because she was able to speak clearly and get her point across. This traumatic incident has been horrible. It totally changed her life completely. She literally had just found who she was. She was 27. She had discovered her glitch, an EMT. We were all shocked. She did so well. She got awards. She was on television in the month of July, literally, and got a scholarship and had a job waiting. And August 12th happened. And even though August 12th happened that Saturday, she went that following Friday and took her state test, sit-down test, and she passed it. We not knowing that her injuries was this severe. And I remember her coming home and like, Mom, I know what I have. They say it's a nerve damage. And she later told me that I looked at your face when I said that, and I knew it was something bad because your face was so just blot. And she went home and looked it up, and she called me crying because it said, no, there's no cure for it. She has been fighting, trying to figure out her life since then. I can't imagine being a 27-year-old, energetic young woman who's now in pain constantly, and with your parasympathetic nervous system damage, that nerve there, it controls your fight, flight, happy, sad, cold, hot. So any of these emotions triggers pain, and there's no cure. They try different things, medications that never worked. So she has fought, and then she had to try to find herself and prove to people, and it's just been a horrible thing all the way around. My daughter has been working since she was 14 years old. Now she can't work, and I have to ask people for money, and then I have to ask you more than 5 times. At this point, I'm begging, and I'm feeling humiliated and demeaned and disrespected. I'm somebody. Why aren't you treating me like somebody? I've had to watch this, and I couldn't help her. Financially, I did a little bit what I could because I was working. But as you mentioned, my son was murdered last year in June. This year in June made a year of gun violence. And even though I thought I knew what another mother felt, and I even shed tears for mothers that I knew who had lost a child, those tears that I shed for those mothers didn't compare. I'm not able to help her anymore because I'm not able to really help myself. I've not worked since he was murdered. So right now we're dealing with grief on top of grief on top of grief. What does she need? She needs help on all levels, as she mentioned. Medical, physical, emotional, financially. She need all of that. She need help on all of those. And let me just say, I appreciate the Hill Fund, the donations from all over the world, or whomever they came from locally. We appreciate the Hill Fund for the last 3 years. Even though she said from day one, Mom, what happens when they say we don't have any more money? She has always felt that, always been afraid of that. And off and on during these 3 years, there has been times when they didn't and someone donated and they were able to sustain her for a little longer. But this recent call, okay, there's no more money in the Hill Fund, we're gonna send you a check, do the best you can with that, and there's nothing else. So now it feels like the city allowed the rally to take place. And it feels like she's now a collateral damage, thrown away to the side. There's no money. There's no more money for your life. She's 30. She can't get disability. She's applied 4 times. Last time with the lawyer, they said no. They actually used her trying to learn this disease and learn how to live her life against her. She stated that she got on the computer and looked up her disease. What was she supposed to do? They used that against her. But what they don't understand is that not only did she get the physical pain and injury, she had a mental injury. She got a whiplash. She got knocked out, a concussion rather. Whiplash and a concussion. Now it's throwing off her focus. Her emotions are over the place when she's in pain or when situation arises. She can't control it. She is doing the very best that she can do.
How are you doing?
I don't know. I can't answer that. I actually go from minute to minute. As you know, we met
in Walmart.
And it was one of those mornings, and we cried together.
In the aisle, getting clean and stuff. Every morning getting all the Clorox wipes.
Someone told me that there's a shortage of Clorox wipes that was mentioned, and he said, well, it's Sister Emma got them all, but I shared them if anyone needs them. But
me too.
Wow. I'm just I don't know from there. I take one day at a time, and when I get to the end of the day, I say, I made it to the end of the day. Then I start over the next morning to dig myself out of the hole. Because this PTSD, this trauma, this disassociation, I've never really paid attention to as a nurse of 23 years. That ain't real. Panic attacks. Oh yeah. They're really weird. They're really real. So I have to just take one moment, 1 second, 1 hour, or 30 minutes at a time. But I also have 2 daughters left. And I am mom. And I want to support them with what I have going on to the best of my ability. And I'm so proud of Tay right now. Because for 3 years, she said, no, I got to be strong. I don't want to let people in. They're doing talking about me. They're going to help me. But she's tired and she can't fight anymore. She needs help. Support.
She needs help.
She needs support.
And she deserves the same amount of respect and help that everybody gave everybody else that was a victim that day.
Absolutely.
And maybe it was the fact that she shut herself out. And that's fine. Mm-hmm. She deserved, look, it's never too late to say, I need my space for me. However, now is her cry for help. And we all open up at different times. And we all open up when we are ready to open up. And so this is her cry for help. And so this is her request that I need people to do more. And this is what I've always said, any and every time that I've ever done an interview, is that we put focus on one area of August the 12th. And there was a whole nother fight that nobody likes to talk about. But every chance I got to use my platform, I made sure that I pointed it out. And so this is your request. This is what you're asking, not only Charlottesville, but the world.
Yes.
What can they do to give her the help that she needs? And so it's somebody that's out there that's listening. And if you are listening and you are in a position that you are able to help, I will provide the information for you to reach either Miss Emma Washington or Miss Tay Washington, and you can make any donation that you wish towards her healing process, towards her getting the help that she needs. If you know any therapists out there and you guys are willing to take a new patient and have her come in and talk to you, then please, she is asking for help. If there's any doctors out there that's willing to see Miss Tay, to, re-diagnose what she's dealing with and the pain and trauma that she's dealing with to help her with her fight with disability. We need you guys. We need the community right now to step in. This is a cry for help, not just from a victim from August the 12th, but this is also a cry for help from her mother. Her mother is also in a healing process now. She just buried her son a year ago. So she's dealing with her own trauma and her own pain. And we're asking the community to step in. I'm also asking the community that you honor and that you respect a Black woman when we say that we are going through something. We need to be heard the same way that you hear a white woman scream, "Me too." We need to be heard and respected the same way when a white woman says Black Lives Matter. We want to be heard. Black people want to be respected. Black people want to be heard. And Black people just want the same amount of the equal treatment that you giving everybody else in America. So I'm going to end this podcast by saying, we know August the 12th is not a great day for a lot of people. It's a double whammy for me. I was down at the rally on August the 12th, 2017. And August the 12th, 2012, I lost my stepdad. So it's a double whammy. However, I choose to keep going. And I hope that you all would choose to keep going too and push through the pain that you're dealing with. And I also hope that you guys choose to make a difference today and understand that this message is bigger than just one side of the story. We have more victims than those 3 people that died that day. We have some people that's living with a lifetime of pain that's not getting the help that they need. And it's our job, I feel, to give them the help that they need. Thank you for watching. If you want to watch more, scroll on over to YouTube, catch the interview with Dave Norris. Thank you.
Here we go again.
Vintage.